Hello, my name is Skip, and this is From the Fourth Row. And I just want to take inspiration from Reels Channel's Hollywood's Top 10 and give my top 5 must-see movies before you die. And I'm going to kind of flub on the 5 because you can't see sometimes if you see part 1, you got to see the whole thing. So I'm going to start out with number 5, and that's The French Connection. Now, The French Connection is an unbelievable movie, and it put Gene Hackman on the map. But the thing about The French Connection is its main aspect is chases, car chases. You really haven't seen car chases done ever since The French Connection. Every movie that has a car chase has taken it from The French Connection. And you're not seeing backdrops put on by special effects or anything like that. You're seeing the actual streets of New York City. And you've seen the James Bond movies with these crazy plots and whatnot. The French Connection is a true story, and it had a crazy plot involving drug trafficking and obviously the French. And Popeye Doyle, played by Gene Hackman, he's like a real life kind of James Bond in a way. I mean, he was a real person, and I think Gene Hackman does a great job. And I think so many kinds of movies owe themselves to The French Connection. Now, my number 4 is, and here we go with flubbing kind of. I'm going to do number 4 as Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. In my opinion, the greatest monster movies of all time. And James Whale, the director, I mean, he does an unbelievable job of scaring us with very little budget, very little special effects, and more so The Bride of Frankenstein. But these two movies have been mimicked and copied, with Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein, and we've seen a candy bar commercial and all kinds of literary and movie versions of Frankenstein. And monsters, all kinds of monsters that wouldn't have probably come around if it wasn't for Frankenstein. I mean, The Bride of Frankenstein is probably one of the top 50 movies of all time, and just the scares and the scenes of people and the fires, and then you have so many different ways that they've done taken Frankenstein and changed it and made it different. And I think it's the first and greatest monster movie of all time, and it stands the test of time, going back 60 or 70 years. And I think they're great movies. Now, my number 3 is probably, in my opinion, the greatest sports movie of all time, and that's Raging Bull. Now, once again, we have a movie that is a sports movie. We think, okay, well, yeah, it's a sports movie. It is probably one of the top 2 sports movies of all time, in my opinion. And I think because of the aspect of how good the movie is, it bumps it up to number 1. And, Pride of the Yankees is right there with Raging Bull. But the thing is, who's the greatest actor of the last 40 years? You could argue probably Al Pacino or Tom Hanks or whoever. But I hands down, I think you could put 4 or 5 unbelievable performances up with any performance by any actor of all time. And you have to say Robert De Niro is probably the greatest actor of the last 40 years. And, Richard Roper had Godfather Part 2, and that was a great De Niro performance. But, I mean, he has to gain 60 pounds, and how him and his brother Joe Pesci play off each other in this, and then the classic at the end. The classic at the end. He tells Joe Louis, "You didn't knock me down. You didn't get me down." And he's looking at him like he's crazy. I just beat the crap out of you, but he didn't get me down. And then the other thing is, Scorsese doesn't even win the Oscar for Best Director. Robert Redford beat him out for Ordinary People. I mean, what a ripoff. I mean, this is clearly, it was nominated the best movie of the decade of the 80s. So you have Scorsese, probably one of the greatest, probably you could put him in top 5 or even 10 directors of all time. De Niro, the best actor in the last 40 years, and probably, I mean, either Pride of the Yankees or Raging Bull are probably the best sports movie of all time. It stands the test of time, and if you love those 3 categories, you should see Raging Bull. Now, of course, I mean, this is a no-brainer, Richard. I mean, I don't know why he didn't put this on his list, but you have to say the original Star Wars trilogy. I mean, Star Wars in and of itself is such an icon of a movie. I mean, you have the things that have gone on with Darth Vader, the special effects were groundbreaking for the time. The monsters and George Lucas is just an amazing director, and it's been once again mimicked by so many different people. Mel Brooks again, Spaceballs. You got Family Guy cartoons, and you got another trilogy. You got all kinds of people. I'm going to allude to something in Star Wars that from my number 1 pick, but the Mos Eisley Cantina. That is taken off from another movie. And it shows the great things about Star Wars. That the brother aspect, the sister aspect, the old man. A lot of different things about Star Wars is just we think of it as our lineage today. And basically it came out 25 years ago. You think, what, 2011, almost 30 years ago, Star Wars came out, and it stands the test of time. Everything about Star Wars. I mean, how can you not say that this is one of the best movies to see before you die? If you don't see this movie before you die, you missed out probably one of the greatest movies of all time. And I put the trilogy in there. My favorite, of course, is The Empire Strikes Back, and that's just an unbelievable movie. I mean, I cannot say enough about The Empire Strikes Back, but Star Wars itself was such a groundbreaking thing when it came out. But the movie, I believe, if you see no other movie before you die, if you've never even seen another movie before in your entire life, you have to see, in my opinion, Casablanca. Casablanca is so amazing. I mean, you go back to the AFI's 100 movie quotes of all time. Six movie quotes from Casablanca are on that list. You tell me, how many quotes in movies? I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of movies, but 6 of the top 100 quotes of all time are from Casablanca. That tells you how important that movie has been in the last 80 years of our life. And that's why I want to bring up the Mos Eisley Cantina from Star Wars. Where does that come from? Casablanca. Rick's Cafe American. I mean, it just, so many, I mean, it brings back so many memories as far as, the war. You have World War II going on, and trying to get out of post World War II France, and you got a love triangle, you got friend, and you got letters of transit, and you got Weasley kind of guys. I mean, just an awesome movie. And I mean, so many movies have taken the kind of storyline from Casablanca and changed it a little bit or here or there, but basically it's Casablanca. You got a love interest, you got scammers, you got wise guys, you got police, you got military people, you got all these different people in characters, and it's just a phenomenal movie, and I just cannot say enough. And if you're gonna say you have to see one movie before you die, I say it's a no-brainer, and it's Casablanca. All right, thank you, Richard, for giving me this inspiration, and I hope everybody enjoys. This has been From the Fourth Row's top 5 movies to see before you die.